We urge Congress to act.
We need legislation to be passed in Congress.
We need Congress and all of our federal leaders to use that time wisely.
Congress faces growing pressure from Democrats, voting rights groups, and the Biden administration to pass federal voting legislation in the wake of a Supreme Court decision that will make it more difficult to challenge the onslaught of new Republican-backed state-level voting restrictions.
As part of the Arizona decision, the Supreme Court did make it clear that there are very high hurdles to proving racially discriminatory allegations in a voting rights case.
The court upheld two provisions in Arizona. One that said if you cast your ballot accidentally in the wrong precinct, the state will throw it out. And secondly, that only you or your caregiver or somebody closely associated with you can collect your mail-in ballot, that you can't engage in what the state derisively called ballot harvesting.
There's still a window, but a narrow window for plaintiffs to kind of go through in order to succeed on one of these Voting Rights Act challenges to some of the laws being adopted these days.
That where the court has seemingly gone in the wrong directions, it will be public policy, and that public policy must come from the Senate. The Senate, they have to do their job and to allow a procedural rule to prevent them from substantive protections of the right to vote is not acceptable.
Voting issues have become a top priority in both parties this year in the aftermath of the 2020 election. But they see the issue differently. Republicans say they are improving election integrity.
Mail-in ballot situation is one that has the possibility of fraud, and that is showing that up is a way to ensure election integrity.
While Democrats say GOP state changes make it harder for minority groups to vote.
The devastating impact this is going to have on Latinos, on Mexican Americans, on our African American community, and especially our community of people with disabilities.
Two bills on the issue have struggled to advance in an equally divided Senate.
The motion is not agreed to.
When you perpetuate or tolerate lies about the election like this, you erode our democracy.
The truth is quite simple. Our democracy is not in crisis.
The Biden administration and allies have limited options to alter voting rules without Senate Democrats getting rid of the filibuster, a rule that requires 60 votes in order to close debate and move forward on passing legislation. And it's looking outside of D.C. in hopes of building pressure on lawmakers ahead of next year's midterm elections.
We'll be asking my Republican friends in Congress and states and cities and counties to stand up for God's sake.
One of the most controversial election changes has been in Georgia. The Department of Justice and civil rights groups have sued the state.
We are litigating at the Legal Defense Fund in Georgia, challenging their voter suppression law. We're challenging Florida's voter suppression law, but I told the president we will not be able to litigate our way out of this threat to Black citizenship, voting, and political participation.
A fight escalated in Texas, where a majority of the Democratic caucus left the state to deny the Republican-controlled legislature the quorum needed to attempt to pass new voting legislation during a special session.
We can't stay here indefinitely to run out the clock to stop Republican anti-voter bills. That's why we need Congress to act now.
Even though the Texas lawmakers face arrest for leaving the special session, they brought the fight to D.C. to put pressure on Congress to act, and fast, because in some states, these new voting laws are already in effect.
We're actually handing the baton to our Senate colleagues, to our Senate members to finish this race for us.